Good evening, this is your AI host, Jay. I'm here with the automatically generated, Journato, evening headlines on March 30, 2023. Refugees subject to widespread physical ill treatment, Council of Europe finds. The Guardian, Europe, findings by leading anti-torture body of systemic abuses at Europe's borders corroborates thousands of testimonies. Amnesty International, anti-torture body decries use of violence, dogs on migrants. The Washington Post, EU must increase scrutiny on Balkan border force activities. Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, International, how does Frontex get away with plain murder? Australia passes most significant climate law in a decade amid concern over fossil fuel exports. The Guardian, Australia makes biggest carbon polluters curb emissions. The Independent, Australian Parliament approves emissions caps on big polluters. France 24 English, a climate policy that actually cuts emissions. It's the reality that fossil fuel bosses and News Corp commentators can't see. The Guardian, Australia to target top polluters as key climate policy approved. Starbucks Howard Schultz denies chain is against unions. BBC, Bernie Sanders accuses ex-Starbucks chief of unprecedented union busting. The Guardian, Bernie Sanders accuses Starbucks Howard Schultz of illegal union busting. Financial Times, it's Schultz, not Starbucks, that seems to be lost. Bloomberg, Howard Schultz says Starbucks has never broken the law. A judge said the company did, hundreds of times. Russian man whose daughter drew anti-war pictures is detained after fleeing. The Guardian, Russian anti-war protest dad detained in Minsk. Politico Europe, Believe, Love and Hope, daughter's letter to father fleeing Russian prison sentence. The Independent, Russia court convicts father of 13-year-old who drew anti-war picture, ITV News. ITV News, father fleeing jail term for discrediting army apprehended in Minsk. Removing 70 of Pablo Escobar's hippos to cost Colombia $3.5 million. The Guardian, removing 70 of Pablo Escobar's hippos to cost Colombia $3.5 million, ITV News. ITV News, removing Pablo Escobar's hippos from Colombia to cost $3.5 million. Al Jazeera English, removing Colombian drug lords' hippos to cost $3.5 million. France 24 English, price of crime, removing Escobar's hippos proves costly. Hereford doctor suspended over porky sausages insults. Vulcan Files, leak reveals Putin's global and domestic cyberwarfare tactics. The Guardian, a new age of spying gives Kyiv the upper hand. The Telegraph, 7 takeaways from the Vulcan Files investigation. The Washington Post, cyberwarfare leaks show Russian army is adopting mindset of secret police. The Guardian, secret trove offers rare look into Russian cyberwar ambitions. 7 California officers charged with manslaughter in traffic stop death. BBC, 7 U.S. officers charged in death of man who cried "I can't breathe." Evening Standard, highway patrol officers charged over death of man who said, "I can't breathe." Bridport and Lyme Regis News, Los Angeles prosecutor charges 7 state police officers with involuntary manslaughter in 2020 death of man in custody, Cayenne 546. Cayenne, 7 California officers charged in death of man in custody. At least 13 dead after falling into well in India when temple floor collapsed. The Guardian, covering over well at Indian temple collapses, killing 8. The Independent, 12 dead after falling into well as indoor temple floor collapses. NDTV, indoor temple accident, 12 dead, 19 rescued in Beleshwar Mahadev temple mishap. Times of India, India temple floor collapse leaves at least 12 Hindu worshippers dead as victims fall into walk-in well. 4 bankers who helped Putin's wallet set up Swiss accounts convicted. The Guardian, 4 bankers convicted of helping Putin's friend, BBC News. BBC News, bankers convicted of helping Putin's friend. BBC, bankers convicted in Switzerland over Putin money laundering. DW, English, bankers found guilty of helping to hide Putin's millions by Swiss court. Kentucky, 9 soldiers killed after 2 U.S. Army helicopters crash. Sky News, live, latest news, breaking stories and analysis on March 30th, CBS News. CBS News, Kentucky helicopter crash, 9 people killed, officials confirm. BBC, Kentucky helicopter crash, live, 9 dead after 2 U.S. Army Blackhawks collide. Tunisian morgue overflows as more people attempt risky sea crossing. Audrey Hale became infatuated with dead schoolmate in months leading up to Nashville shooting. The Independent, Nashville Republicans slammed for posing with guns in family Christmas photo. Evening Standard, Senator presses AG to open Nashville hate crime investigation for targeting of Christians #shorts. USA Today, what we know about the Covenant School shooting in Nashville. U.S. News and World Report, Nashville school shooting, latest, shooter Audrey Hale's infatuation, revealed as police probe motive. Dozens killed in blaze on Philippines ferry. BBC, up to 31 dead after passenger ferry fire in Philippines. Sky News, at least 31 dead after Philippines ferry carrying 250 people catches fire. ITV News. ITV News, at least 31 dead after Philippines ferry carrying 250 passengers catches fire. The Independent, at least 31 dead after ferry fire in the Philippines. Pope Francis, health improving after night in hospital. BBC, Pope, pictures of Pontiff being assisted days before hospitalization. Sky News, the 7 things you need to know for Thursday, March 30th. The Washington Post, Pope Francis spends calm night in hospital. BBC, Pope Francis' health is improving. The destinations that are discouraging tourists, from Amsterdam to Cornwall. The Independent, Amsterdam launches Stay Away ad campaign targeting young British men. BBC News. BBC News, the war on British tourists has reached Amsterdam. Why does everyone hate us? The Telegraph, Amsterdam's lazy campaign against British tourists. The Spectator, Amsterdam tells rowdy British tourists to stay away in new campaign. Russia arrests Wall Street Journal reporter on espionage charges. The Independent, Russia arrests U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich on spying charge. BBC, U.S. journalist detained in Russia on espionage charges. MSNBC, Russia-Ukraine war live. Wall Street Journal, vehemently denies espionage claims after reporter arrested by Russian security services. The Guardian, Russia arrests Wall Street Journal reporter for This was all for the news. Thanks for listening. Please do not forget to like and subscribe.